Looking in my surrounding space, it suddenly dawned on me that I was missing something. And no, it wasn't a good clean. I had World War II models, I had cool Star Wars spaceships, and I even had G1 Transformers. But what I didn't have was a mech. So just kind of going through my mech board of robots and drones and things like that, I kind of wanted to start with a bit of inspiration, and I definitely wanted to avoid, the humanoid-looking, robots. I wanted to go for something that felt more like a vehicle and kind of capture that kind of, jet cockpit quality with a pilot. And so, as I was kind of going through, I came across one particular artist that I'm particularly fond of. I've been collecting his work over a lot of years, and his name is Alex Itcham. And it was this image over here that particularly, drew my attention. And what I really liked about it was just this, thick, chunky robot. It's just heavy, and even the kind of the cockpit with the illuminated, blue light thrown across. It's just like this. This is the one. And I don't want to copy this exactly because again, this is like a loose sort of sketch. I'm not going to be able to kind of use this for kind of like a detailed pass, but it's going to give me a lot of ideas about the sort of raw silhouette that I'm, hoping to achieve. And yeah, I thought this was a fantastic one to try and, not bring this specifically to life, but something about this I wanted to use as my source of inspiration. Well, guys, I'm not using 3ds Max, I'm not using Maya, and I'm not using Blender. I've opted to be using Plasticity as my main program for this particular build and model. And just to give you a quick rundown of what this program is capable of doing, it is hands down one of the best applications out there for hard surface modeling, and I'm going to show you why. So just to give you a quick demonstration, the ability to kind of quickly chamfer and fillet without any kind of constraints, to switch it over between a hard edge and the curved fillet, is just phenomenal. I use that all the time. Same thing with this one here. Just watch how easy it is to switch between the two. And then the other one is, the Boolean process that it has built into it has got to be one of the best clean systems I've ever come across. And just the ability to kind of continue to update it and work within such a sort of, system, to do this in any other program like Blender or Max or Maya, it would just take, a long time to repeat a similar sort of process when you aren't necessarily following a design, but you're following, your instincts, you're being creative. This has got to be one of the best programs that you'll ever come across. So I cannot recommend it enough. And, just to have a little bit of fun with this is always a nice way of warming up. But yeah, it is such a fun program to use. So if you've never used it before, I highly recommend that you try this out. Guys, after about 20 minutes, this is the rough sort of shape I'm looking to kind of go with. And again, you can kind of see that I'm emphasizing the heaviness, the weightiness of this this guy. Particularly in the thighs is kind of one of the first ones that I started with. And then I moved on to the kind of like the main kind of upper torso, but trying to, capture the cockpit here, the canopy, because it's going to be like one of the main features. And the more I'm just sort of playing with this, the more I realize I really want to put some lights into this. So let's get going. So going through this, I didn't really kind of plan on putting articulation into this. The intention was to do this as a static model. I might look at that in the future and try and update that so I can have it articulated. But for now, I tend to sort of print it out in sort of a posed, way. And I've just popped in a quick pose here because, even in these early, very loose block stages, there's enough information here to kind of tell if something's going to work. And I was confident that, again, just sort of getting this sort of cool action shot with the back leg, coming back and the front right leg sort of coming forward to a step, and he's sort of just turning across. I thought this is going to be a great looking shot. So this is going to be my main inspiration. So when I go through the rest of the details, I'm going to eventually come back and pose it like this. Well, guys, here he is, the final model. And I got to say, I'm absolutely thrilled with the way that this turned out. So I'm really happy with the fact that I've kind of captured the internals here now. I haven't gone too much detail on the internals here. I've just sort of simplified it for now because this is the first time I've ever done anything like this where I intended to kind of throw some lights and pop it in there. But to kind of give you guys a little quick walkthrough, so I'm going to just sort of separate the elements to show you what's going to be printed out separately. So if you want to do this yourself, you'll have some sort of idea what to expect. So glass canopy, the glass itself. I've never done clear resin, before. So that'll be an interesting sort of way to see how that goes because I've seen a lot of it online and with sort of mixed and varied results. So hopefully we'll get some clean glass out of it. These orange elements here are basically going to be, lights on the inside, and hopefully these things will be able to kind of diffuse the light. Again with the clear, plastic resin, that should kind of give us like a nice, throw light for the internal of the cockpit. So I'm just going to grab some of these things quickly and just separate them out for you, so you can kind of have a little bit better a look about what's going on exactly. But yeah, there's not much to it. So I'll just pull out this element. So this will be broken off into more separate elements. But you kind of got there with the seat there. Now, I wasn't sure if I was going to go back and build someone. I might end up sort of borrowing him from another model kit out there, maybe 135 scale. I'm roughly thinking at this point. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Because I want this to be like a big kind of desk feature. I want it to look cool and imposing. And so I want that scale to be bigger. Now, I'm usually kind of, building things that are smaller. So this would be one of these times where I'm building something far bigger than I'm used to. But I'm very excited with the results and I can't wait to kind of get in there and start painting this. So definitely the element at the back here comes straight up because this is just more for simplicity. So I can kind of get into the internals and fit it with lighting and a battery and whatnot. So that should be a bit of fun. The guns are fairly straightforward. They all just come out and will be printed out separately. So no dramas there. Now I was intending to kind of print this guy in that pose position. So I'll probably, actually I've got that over here. So let me, we'll basically undo that. So here is in the pose position, and the legs are going to be locked into place for this particular model. I might go back to it in the future and try and work in some articulation, but for now we'll kind of keep that a little bit more simple. And the other thing that's sort of worth pointing out here is I've built this guy on sort of a mechanism that can rotate around, so give us the torso a little bit of extra rotation. So I've got these two flanges that sort of stick out. They will lock into the base torso. And so it'll just kind of allow us to sort of spin it around a little bit further to get us a bit more twist in the design. So yeah, it should be really fun, and hopefully you guys can make it even more extreme, because even just that, just twisting a little bit further, it's like it just looks cool. Hopefully it doesn't fall over. Well, that's another one that we'll have to figure it out. But I intended to sort of I ended up intending on printing out the legs and the lower elements, basically solid resin. So it just gives us that extra weight down at the lower center of gravity. So the top end shouldn't be too kind of like causing it to tip over. Just as a reminder, guys, if you want to continue along the journey and watch this 3D model turn into a 3D print, hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.